we can choose to let our minds explore other possibilities, to use our imaginations. For if we consider that astroscientists agree on one point, that the possibility of life elsewhere is not only quite probable, some feel it is there without a doubt. Let us suppose then that these objects are real space vehicles, extraterrestrial in origin, and not an illusion of the mind.
There's nothing to hide. There's nothing to hide at all.
What's up? Welcome to Somewhere in the Live Stream. I am your host, Ryan Sprague, and joining us after the break tonight, guys, Suzanne Landers, our moderator, will be hopping in to talk all the latest UFO news with us. We got some doozies for you tonight, man. Whistleblowers, UAP witnesses up the wazoo. So we're going to be talking about a bunch of those with you guys tonight. I've got some space news. I've got a top UFO hotspots revealed in the UK list for you guys. So much to talk about. But before we do anything, hit like, hit subscribe, hit that notification bell right now if you're watching this on YouTube, so you'll be the first to know when we're dropping new episodes. We're going to be doing a lot more videos on the channel. Some top 5 lists, top 10 lists, top 20 lists, you name it. I'm going to be pumping out some of those for you guys in the coming weeks. I'll be teasing one of them for you a little bit later as well. But yeah, welcome to Somewhere in the Live Stream. This is where we talk all the latest UFO news. What's been going on in the world of UFOs this week and beyond. And yeah, we'll break it down with you guys. We'll get your thoughts and opinions and theories and comments on all of it. If you have any questions for us throughout the live stream tonight, make sure you put them in the super chat. So we'll be sure to get those. Super chat and super stickers are open all night if you would like to help support the show. We're going to do a goal of 5 of those tonight with you guys. If we hit 5 super chats of any type tonight, we will do a bonus Halloween themed episode for you guys. And I'm going to do my top 10 favorite alien themed horror movies. That's going to be a lot of fun. Horror movies in the alien realm are something I know very well. We've covered them in the past on the show. We've reviewed a bunch of them with my good buddies, Nick Westermeyer and Andrew Sanford, who are screenwriters, actors, you name it, they've done it in the entertainment industry. But I can guarantee you there's a lot more in this top 10 list that we haven't reviewed here on Somewhere in the Skies or Somewhere in the Live Stream. So yes, tonight, if we hit a goal of 5 super chats, then I will put that video together and get it out to you guys sometime this upcoming week. What else do I have for you? Oh, let's talk some shop before we get into the news. Before I do that, hi to everyone in the chat. I see all the regulars here. Thank you so much for being here, guys. I see a couple new names as well. So welcome to the channel. We're so happy to have you here. If you're watching this on Twitter, come on over to YouTube. We have an awesome live chat going where you can interact with us over there. And it's a lot more fun. Honestly, I appreciate you watching on Twitter for sure. But our goal is to funnel you all over to YouTube. So welcome to everyone. Okay. So last week, I asked you guys to rate and review the Somewhere in the Skies podcast on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And I gave you code words, and you guys did not disappoint. So I'm going to go through some of these with you tonight. I want to shout out all these people over on Spotify for using our code words, Belgian waffle. Some of you did a little, I guess, creative license. I see blue waffle on here. Blue Belgian waffle. Wow, amazing. But thank you guys. Thank you to all of you. Benjamin Blake, Mac Computer, User Error, Jean Drolet, Paul, Adifimano, Andrew Self, and JP Brandon Wood over on Spotify. Thank you guys for using the code word Belgian Waffle in your ratings and comments over on Spotify. And a couple new Apple Podcast reviews as well that followed our very detailed instructions too. I can't see the name up at the top there. But I'm going to read these out for you. Ryan's long running and always current UAP podcast is among the premier OG shows on the topic. It's a must follow for anyone diving into the phenomenon. Better than a tasty Belgian waffle, says the great Gandalf. Amazing, amazing. And Belgian Waffle Review said, great podcast with intersecting topics. Was surprisingly hard to find on Apple Podcasts since searching the full word somewhere caused the search feature to return 0 results. Not sure why that happened. That's interesting. I don't know why that would happen, but let me know if there's a issue with finding the show on Apple Podcasts. I should know that if you search for it over on Apple. I don't think so, but yeah. Thank you to both of you for using the code word Belgian Waffle from last week. I truly do appreciate that. And because, guys, because of these ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts, we shot up to number 38 on Apple Podcasts last week. We broke the top 40 on Apple, which is just incredible. Oh God, it feels so good to be ahead of Michael Shermer. Oh man, I cannot tell you how good it feels to be ahead of Michael Shermer on Apple Podcasts. Amazing. You see our really good friend and buddy, That UFO Podcast, on here as well. We're always neck and neck over on Apple. He's usually ahead of me by light years because Andy does such incredible work. If you're not subscribed to That UFO Podcast, make sure you are. He is just pumping out quality content every single week for you guys. But this is great. This is great. I cannot thank you guys enough for doing that. So yeah, can we get even higher on Apple Podcasts? That is up to you guys. So once again, I'm going to ask you to rate and review the podcast on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. You can rate it. And this week, guys, this week you will see on your screen, and I'm just going to get rid of this banner for a sec, Suzanne. The code words for this week on Apple and Spotify are Kona Blue. Konablue. Once again, the code word is Kona Blue. Be sure to somehow use that in your Apple Podcasts rating and review or in the comments section over on Spotify. Konablue, Kona Blue. All right. You have your instructions. Follow them. I think that's it. That is it, guys. So we're going to get to the news this week, and we're starting with a really interesting space story that I want to cover with you here. Astronomers detect exceptionally strong radio signals from deep space. This story comes to us from Micah Hanks over at The Debrief, of course. Excuse me, I'm still getting over the old you-know-what over here. Everyone's got it over in the UK. But I will barrel through this here, guys. Astronomers have picked up mysterious, exceptionally strong radio signals from deep space, and they're unlike anything ever recorded before. Detected from beyond the center of a distant galaxy, these fast-changing signals have been traced to a tidal disruption event, the violent moment when a black hole tears apart a star. But what truly astonished scientists was where this happened, not in the heart of a galaxy where supermassive black holes are expected to dwell, but thousands of light years away from it in the cosmic outskirts. The discovery, led by Dr. Itai Safardi, who you see on your screen here if you're watching this on YouTube, he's from the University of California, Berkeley, And he says that this could rewrite what we know about black holes and even raises provocative questions about the strange radio bursts that sometimes reach Earth from deep space. So interesting. Using a global network of powerful observatories, including the Very Large Array in New Mexico, ALMA in Chile, and the ArcMinute Microkelvin Imager in the UK, the team detected two colossal radio flares unlike ever before. Even more curious, these signals appeared months after the star's destruction, suggesting the black hole woke up again long after the feast was over. This slow burning cosmic event hints that black holes may release energy in unpredictable pulsing outbursts, not unlike the fast radio bursts that have puzzled astronomers for years and have occasionally been speculated to be artificial or alien in origin. Dr. Safari called the discovery truly extraordinary, and his mentor, Professor Asaf Haresh, described it as one of the most fascinating cosmic findings of his career. While there's no claim of extraterrestrial intelligence here, the team's work does blur the line between natural and mysterious, offering a rare glimpse into how black holes might produce the kind of radio phenomena that have long sparked speculation about alien technology. So there you go, guys. Some really exciting news on black holes ripping apart stars and then, you know, whatever, just months, years later, it finally sends out a burst that we're able to detect, which is just so fascinating. Fast radio bursts are all the rage now in astronomy and SETI and all that stuff too. So this is pretty cool. Pretty cool. I think this is game changing when it comes to astronomy and black holes. So awesome. Awesome story from Micah Hanks over there at the Debrief. But let's move to our next story. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're seeing the flag of where is that, guys? Anybody? I'll wait 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Boom. Jamie Tree Spirit coming in clutch with the win. Wales. Great job. Great job. Gimme as well. Awesome, guys. Yep, that is the flag of Wales. And the reason I'm showing that, let me read this to you guys here. Let me cough quick too. I'm going to mute my mic. All right. The UK's top UFO hotspot has been revealed. This story comes to us from a website called nation.simru. And a recent article published a ranking of UFO reporting hotspots across the UK based on decades worth of user submitted sightings drawn from 3 sources. Those sources are the National UFO Reporting Center, or NUFORC, the Enigma Labs app, controversial to say the least, and the UFO Identified Group, which I have had the pleasure of working with here in the UK and speaking at one of their events when I first moved here to the UK. They do great work compiling all of the UFO reports throughout the entire United Kingdom. So with these 3 groups, they were able to make the data more comparative by researchers adjusting for population size, basically reports per 100,000 people, rather than simply counting total sightings. That recalibration places the place called Llandudno, a seaside town in North Wales with under 20,000 residents, at the very top. That's interesting. One of the lowest populations throughout the UK has the highest amount of UFO reports. That's crazy. That means this place is definitely a hotspot for some reason. What that reason is, we can only venture guesses, but wow. Wow. So Ladudno logged 23 reports, which translates to about 116.7 sightings per 100,000 people. In absolute terms, larger cities like Manchester still lead in sheer volume, 349 reports, but their per capita rankings fall behind these smaller communities. The article also notes several caveats around interpreting these results. The rankings reflect reported sightings, not confirmed extraterrestrial activity, and may be skewed by factors such as public awareness, reporting culture, smartphone usage, and the ease of logging via the Enigma app, which many recent reports came through. It also highlights that UFO observations occur across both rural and urban settings in England and Wales, showing no single geographic pattern. But let's go to the rest of the results. These were pretty interesting. Ladudno, Wales had, like we said, the 116.7%. Norwich, England, 89.3. Manchester, UK, 88.2. Stafford, England, 76.7. Waterlooville, England, 71%. Exeter, England, 62%. Preston, England, 60%. Leominster, England, 58%. Leeds, England, 54%. And Southampton, England, 51%. So for all of our UK listeners out there, I'm sure this is pretty exciting. For the rest of the world, maybe not so much. So maybe we'll get some of these results from wherever you're from as well. But now that I live in the UK, this is pretty interesting. I'm a little disappointed that Scotland isn't on here at all. Especially with all the activity that is said to happen in Bonnybridge in Scotland, and even Inverness out there in the Highlands and whatnot. But yeah, this is pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. And a place in Wales, this small town in Wales, is the place to go. So who wants to go? Who wants to go? You're in. Suzanne's in. Let me know in the chat. Give me a little hand in the chat there. Who wants to go to Wales? We'll get the lowdown from our good friend Dan Zetterstrom, who's from Wales, who now lives in the US of all places. That's hilarious. He moved to the US. I moved to the UK. Love it. Love it. Someone had to take my place. Good luck. Good luck, Dan. That's all I'm gonna say. This is cool. This is cool. You'll go, Dalen says. I'll go. Awesome. Amanda's in. Love it. Road trip, guys. Let's do it. Okay. Let's move to our next story. It's happening. Finally. They have announced the release date of the Age of Disclosure documentary. It's here, guys. The upcoming documentary, The Age of Disclosure, directed by Dan Farah, will finally make its global debut on Amazon Prime Video on November 21st, 2025. Not too long. Right around Thanksgiving time in the United States. It'll also have a limited theatrical release in select U.S. cities. The film explores what it calls the greatest secret in modern history, an alleged 80-year government cover-up surrounding unidentified anomalous phenomena. So, in announcing this, they also released a new trailer for the documentary. So I'm going to go ahead and play that for you guys right now. Hopefully we won't get a copyright strike. Dan Farah, just trying to help you out, brother. Just trying to help you out. So let's watch the latest trailer for The Age of Disclosure.
We've had repeated instances of something operating in the airspace over restricted nuclear facilities, and it's not ours.
These are otherworldly things that are performing maneuvers that haven't been seen.
All right. What do you guys think? Does that get you pumped to see the Age of Disclosure? Will you be watching the Age of Disclosure? Now, the big contention here is that this premiered at a film festival. I want to say over a year ago at this point. To very very mixed reviews. I think would be putting it actually kind of generous. Not in terms of like it's a bad documentary or anything, but I think people were expecting something different. Um, Apparently, and I guess this is kind of a spoiler. So if you don't want to know what the documentary kind of consists of, it was all there in the trailer. It's literally just talking heads for like 2 hours. There's not like video evidence other than the Navy videos we've seen for like 7 years now. Um, and it's a little slow. And monotonous, as some reviewers put it. But again, like these are people that were probably expecting some like crazy UFO videos, like the Hellfire or things like that. So yeah. It's not that. It's a lot of people uh telling their side of the story. A lot of very high profile political people, intelligence people, military people, obviously. Powerful heads, Kathy Smith says exactly. One sec, guys. Oh, this cough is killing me. I really apologize if I keep muting tonight. So dry here in Scotland, man. Anywho, so will you be seeing it? Let me know in the comments below. Are you looking forward to it? Let me know in the comments below as well. But yeah, all the familiar faces we've been seeing on the UFO topic for a long time. Will they have anything new to say is the real question. Um, the film touts testimony from 34 high-ranking insiders across the US military, intelligence, and political sectors who assert that evidence of non-human technology has been systematically concealed for decades. The documentary also includes appearances from scientists, researchers, and pilots who share firsthand accounts and data that challenge conventional explanations for UAP encounters. Who are those scientists? Who are those scientists? That's what I want to know. That's interesting. That is interesting. Um, I don't really give a rat's ass what politicians think about this topic. I'm so sick of this topic being politicized. But look, there's no escaping it. It's ufology 2025, and it's in the halls of Congress, and a lot of people see that as a good thing. And I'm not going to take that away from them. If you think that this is the age of disclosure and that disclosure is going to come from these 34 people in this movie, fine. Good for you. I'm glad. I'm glad. Um, I will obviously watch it. But will there be anything that'll truly be what they are saying is disclosure? I don't know. I just don't know. Last paragraph here. While the age of disclosure promises to deliver explosive revelations, skeptics argue that many of its claims rely heavily on personal testimony rather than hard scientific verification. Critics urge caution, warning that sensationalism could overshadow legitimate calls for transparency. So, yeah, I tend to agree with some of that. This is just, people talking. Welcome to ufology. It is literally what I do in ufology is tell stories. So it's up to you whether you uh, put any credence into that or not. So there you go, guys. The Age of Disclosure releasing November 21st. Can all watch it with our turkey dinners, our stuffing, all that good stuff. Where will I be November? Oh, I will be back in Nova Scotia. So I wasn't really going to have Thanksgiving, whether I was in the UK. Now I'm going to be in Canada. So I'm just kind of hopping to all the places that don't have actual Thanksgiving. But I'm sure I will have some sort of Thanksgiving meal while I'm there. They actually have Thanksgiving pizza in Nova Scotia, and it is so good. So get this. It's pizza with, instead of like red sauce or whatever, it's a gravy sauce. Then you got a little bit of cheese, and then it has stuffing, turkey, and like herbs and spices on it. Mwah. It is so, so good. I had a slice in Nova Scotia last week when I was in Nova Scotia. Yeah, and it just, if that's gonna be my Thanksgiving meal. Oh, I forgot the most important part. You dip it in a cranberry sauce. Just gets better and better. I'll post a picture on Twitter of it. I took a picture of it because it was so damn good. Do they have Halloween in Scotland? Robert says, yes, they do. Yes, they do. It's called something else. Samhain, Simon, something like that. I forgive me. I don't know the proper way of saying it, but yeah, there's this really cool thing. So I live near a very iconic park in Scotland where on Halloween they have a procession of like pagan rituals who come down from these mountains with torches and proceed to do like this crazy fire dance and chants and all these pagan rituals. It's so cool. So it's not like Halloween as it would be in like the US where like people go out trick or treating and dress up in costumes. You will see some of that, but it's more of like a actual like pagan ritualistic holiday. So that's pretty cool. Samhain. There we go. Samhain. Susan says, I don't know. Why are you in Scotland? Kathy says, I live here. Kathy, I actually live here. I've been living in Scotland for about 2.5 years now. I'll be here for about another year or so. My partner is studying here. So I'm here cheerleading them on and doing my UFO thing. And I love every second of it. Even though I'm like, I'm a New Yorker living in Scotland, working in Nova Scotia, Canada. So half of my year, I'm either back home with family or I'm in Nova Scotia working. So I barely actually lived in Scotland in the past 2 years. But I savor every moment being here. That's for sure. I love it. I absolutely love it. Oh, it's an ancient Celtic pagan festival, Amanda says. Samhain. It's when the harvest begins. There you go. There you go. Yeah, we went to this awesome pagan thing last year where they were doing the fire dance with the torches. And one of the people threw the torch up in the air and the flames came off the torch. And I'm not kidding you, landed in my partner's hair. Lit her hair on fire. So this is like weeks of us moving here and her head caught on fire at a pagan ritual. Welcome to Scotland. Okay. So we have a lot to get to. Some crazy, crazy stuff. UAP witnesses at Air Force bases, UAP whistleblowers coming forward saying they worked for the NSA communicating with aliens. Oh my God. James Lacatski came out with a brand new book called New Insights, where he talks about being inside a UFO. I'm going to repeat that. Being inside a non-human craft, a UFO. We're going to talk all about it with Suzanne when we come back from the commercial break. So stick with us, guys. Watch these couple commercials I got for you, and we will come back on the other side and really get into the meat of tonight's discussion. Oh boy. Yeah. This is going to be very interesting. Stick with us. We'll be right back with Somewhere in the Live Stream.
Hey friends, it's Daniel Noah here. I'm the director of SpectreVision Radio. So many of the ideas that permeate the genre stories we tell are actually based on real paranormal phenomena. The way we've represented these powerful experiences really only begin to scratch the surface, not just of the way they work, but of the way they feel. When the fine folks at Oni Press approached SpectreVision about creating a comic book series based on real paranormal phenomena, we jumped at the chance. High Strangeness is a series of 5 interconnected stories created by actual experiencers, committed to portraying the reality of paranormal experience as it truly is: strange, disorienting, beguiling, frightening, and awe-inspiring. It's got UFOs, cryptids, men in black, and I mean the real men in black, not the other men in black, synchronicities. When you look into the abyss looks back.
Greetings, everyone. Ryan Sprague here, host of Somewhere in the Skies. For over 7 years and more than 400 episodes, the Somewhere in the Skies podcast has always been free to listen to, but it's not free to create. So we offer several ways to help support our efforts and get rewards in return. If you listen to the podcast on Apple, you can click the subscribe button at the top of your Somewhere in the Skies feed to become a premium Apple subscriber. Or you can join our Patreon campaign with several tiers available. Both of these options give you the same benefits and rewards: ad-free episodes, early access to the main show, and bonus episodes and content. Help keep the lights on at the Somewhere in the Skies HQ, and help us continue to grow by becoming a Patreon subscriber at patreon.com/somewhereskies, or by clicking the subscribe button at the top of your Apple feed. Thank you for your continued support, and keep looking up. And welcome back to Somewhere in the live stream, guys. Thanks for checking out those commercials. The Spectre Vision comic book is out. I've got a copy of it right behind me here. As you can see, book 1 is all about Men in Black. I cannot recommend it enough. Be sure to head to your local comic book shop and look for High Strangeness. If they don't have it, you can ask them to order it. It's so good. I just finished reading volume 1 about the Men in Black, and it's got an awesome, I guess you'd call it epilogue from our good friend Jim Perry over at Euphomet, where he covers the entire Men in Black phenomenon and beyond. So really, really cool comic book. The next one's going to be about Bigfoot, so I cannot wait to read that as well. But yeah, you can order it online as well. Go to Oni Press, ONI Press, or, just type in High Strangeness, Spectre Vision. It should pop up for you guys. It's so good. So good. And yeah, if you want bonus content, early access to the podcast, or priority to ask our guests questions, you could join our very active Patreon campaign, and you help out the show. Just visit patreon.com/somewhereskies to learn more. If you'd like to help out the show immediately, you can do that tonight in the super chat or super stickers. We have a goal of 5 of those tonight. If we reach that goal, I will do a special bonus episode for you guys this upcoming week of my top 10 favorite alien-themed horror movies. Perfect for spooky season. So yeah, super chat, super stickers, open all night. PayPal, buy me a coffee. Those are options as well. QR codes are up on the screen. You can scan those, or links are in the show notes as well. I'll be sure to check those before the end of the night in case anyone donated that way. Those will go towards our goal as well. So thank you guys. Thank you. Okay. Age of Disclosure documentary releasing November 21st. But we got so much to get to, so I'm just gonna bring her in. Without further ado, let me get her up on screen here. There she is, Suzanne Landers. Welcome back.
Hi, how are you?
I am doing great. How are you doing? You've had a busy week getting ready for something special, right?
I am getting ready to go to Italy tomorrow for the Soul Foundation. I'm so excited.
Yes, and we teased all of it last week. We went through all the speakers that you're going to be seeing, and hopefully, maybe interviewing when you're there. I kind of put you in a on the spot situation there. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Rolls out, right?
I know how these things go. It can get very crazy, and sometimes these people just don't have time. But it'll be interesting to say the least. But we got some doozies to cover with you tonight. But before we do that, I just played the trailer for Age of Disclosure. What are your thoughts? what's your initial reaction to that trailer? And yeah, what's your history with this documentary, if any? And are you looking forward to it?
Let's start with that. I am looking
Okay.
very forward to this because I think the sheer volume of government related witnesses is going to produce something that's fruitful for us. Will we have heard a whole lot of it? I'm sure we will. We'll have already have, processed some of it. But the sheer volume of these types of witnesses is not something that we see, right? I mean, we can just count on one hand the number of times there is even a small cluster of these people. So I will definitely be watching it. I wish I were in one of those cities that had a limited release here in the US, but I'm not seeing it anywhere in the horizon in my nooks and crannies. Maybe you will be one in Scotland.
I don't think so. I think it was literally like LA, New
Yeah.
York, Chicago. It's always like the major cities. Which was great when I lived in New York. I always got to go to like the
Right.
special premieres of things and stuff like that. And LA, my God, like that's just
They
like
get
movie
everything.
central.
Well, that's where it
Yeah.
premiered, didn't it? At South by Southwest in, I can't
Is it?
remember.
I think that's in Texas,
That may
if
be
I'm
in
not
Texas.
mistaken.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. That's right. And I think that was in March of
Yeah.
2025 when it premiered. So that begs the question for those of us who sit up all night with questions running through our heads. What happened between point A and point B? So I'm going to talk a tiny bit of trash here, none
Okay.
of which is verifiable. But I started digging around into why this delay. Of course, I thought nefarious intent at first. Is our government in there doing something it shouldn't be doing to stop these people from speaking? But I don't think that's it at all. I think when you dug around in there, I think Mr. Farah can be very particular.
Mm.
That doesn't work for everyone. It's sort of what the bottom line about all that was. So I was as surprised as everyone else. Frankly, I thought there might not be a public release, that it might just pop up on YouTube one day. So I was surprised. But he did work a deal. What I am reading about the Amazon Prime release, which is November 21 again, is that it's a self-release. So I don't really know what that means. You being in the entertainment world, you may have a better sense of what that means. But long
Yeah.
story short, it's coming out.
Yeah. Self-release to me sounds a lot like self-publishing a book.
I thought
Like
so too.
it's not being done through a distributor. Like, there are distributors out there that you hire to get your movie out to as many movie theaters as possible, or to get the best deal for you for Netflix, Hulu, stuff like that. So it sounds like to me they kind of just were like, let's just put it up on Amazon and we'll do it ourselves. I know Dan Farah has his own company, so that may be acting as the liaison or the actual distributor
I
of
think
the
it is.
film, which is weird
I thought
that
so
a
too.
documentary this high profile and this prominent with this many individuals involved that they couldn't get like I don't know.
Right.
And then, there was, and this has been made public, so I'm not saying anything out of turn or that's private, but there was a lawsuit as
There
well
was.
between Dan Farah and Luis Elizondo. I
There
don't
was.
know if that was at all related to the film itself, but
I
do
don't
you
think
know
it was
anything about that?
related to the distribution. I think it was related to a clearance question. And that the
Oh,
only way to resolve it was this way. And then it immediately resolved. And it appears from me digging around that Elizondo and Mr. Farrow have sorted out quickly I'm not sure they were ever even really opposed to each other, as opposed to having to process this thing out. But it
yeah.
worked out, and they got the paperwork they needed, and it was over. So
Okay, that's good to know. I know the drama fiends out there were probably like, "Uh-oh." But yeah,
exactly.
like that stuff happens. Look at how long it takes to clear some of these
Right.
books that have come out. Lacatski's book, which we're gonna talk about. The David Grush article that came out originally in the Debrief took a really long time. Who else? Elizondo's book took like a year. So this stuff happens. Amanda made an interesting point here. Age of disclosure is more geared towards the general public to bring more people into the topic. I do agree with that. Like, this will be old hat for us, probably. We know everyone in these movies. We've seen them talk about UFOs. We probably know a lot of what they're going to be talking about. But this is not for us. This is for now a public internationally who will see this. Like, hundreds of thousands of millions of new people will be seeing this. It's kind of, I like to compare it to WWE. I can't believe I'm doing this. World Wrestling Entertainment, my second love in life, professional wrestling. They were on the channel USA in the US. There's a network actually called the USA Network. They were on there for like, God, 40 years or something. Their show Monday Night Raw. And then a couple of years ago, they left USA and they went to Netflix. And that changed everything, because you were no longer on just a United States network where very few people even watch cable television any longer. And now you were on a platform where the entire world could see you. And that boosted up their viewership and everything by literally probably like hundreds of millions of people. So
multiples and multiples, just a huge step to take.
Totally. So I think it's good that they're doing a limited theatrical release, but then putting this on the biggest like platform out there, Amazon Prime. So
did you draw any connection between earlier this week's public safety hearing by the UAPDF and the release date of this? I don't want to read too much into it, but I thought the UAPDA presentation was really for a larger audience, a general audience, not necessarily for us, in a way to perhaps get the public thinking about it. And then this comes right behind it to likely get the public thinking about it. Almost makes me think something's up.
Something's either up. And we talked about this. We were given permission to exclusively stream the UAPDF town hall that took place this past week. Guys, you can watch it right here on the channel, one live stream back. So I want to give a special shout out to the UAPDF, the UAP Disclosure Fund, and all the amazing people over there. They were so kind to let us stream that, just so we could get it out to more people that may not have attended the virtual town hall itself. I was just like, look, hey, we'll put it up here if you guys want extra eyes on it. And they were like, yeah, let's do it. So hopefully maybe that's a relationship we can build further and stream more of their things in the future. But I didn't really know what this thing was going to be about. And I loved it. I thought the speakers were great. Like you had said, it was all about public awareness and, what was the other big thing?
Law enforcement, what they should be doing in the event of an incident, and what the military ought to be doing for an incident instead of honestly what they are doing, which is hiding.
What they are doing.
Yeah.
Well, I saw him in the chat here. Keith Taylor was one of the speakers. He's always sharing our stuff, and I love that. I appreciate that. He was one of the speakers, and I thought he did great. Like, he's the one who's like creating a manual for law enforcement to deal with UAP reports, UAP crashes, if they are to happen. Because where's the first place many people report a UFO? It's to law enforcement. So, and if they don't have a protocol, like, we're not going to get anywhere. That thing's going to end up in the trash bin eventually. So,
well, and also without a protocol, isn't it easy for people to be dismissed as, crazy, or you saw a balloon, or, it's really easy to go that route if you don't have to actually follow a protocol.
Exactly. But I kind of got off track there. I apologize. You asked me, do I think something's up, or like the timing? Yeah, I think it's twofold. I think the more I guess hypothetical one is that yes, something is happening where they feel like they need to get this documentary out, and also we need to educate the public on some sort of protocol for contact of some sort, or some big event happening. We kind of joked about it while we were watching the town hall, but we were like, could this have to do with 3i Atlas?
Maybe
Is it going to come land on Earth? But like, who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows? But I do get that weird
I do too.
anticipatory feeling or
Radar
like
is up.
anxious feeling. Yeah. And then, you know, I also maybe it was a concerted strategic thing for the documentary, who it has people from the UAPDF involved, to kind of work in tandem with each other and, you know, boost both of their exposure at the same time. I don't know. Like that's genius. That's
It is.
like business 101. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
and it's a no harm, no foul move, isn't it? You can
Totally.
educate the public and you can unite yourself in strength with others and get your
Yep.
message out.
Absolutely. So yeah. Dusty asks, who cleared Lou's book? Oh God.
Yeah,
What is that
group called?
group?
Yeah.
It is escaping me. Someone in the
It's
chat
through the
will know.
Inspector General's office.
Something like that. But yes, it has to go through a process and everything in it needs to be cleared to make sure it's not classified and stuff. Someone will put it in the chat. I know they will. I know they
Someone
will.
Google that for us quickly.
Yeah. Someone Google that, please. We're busy. Trudy Perry, thank you so much. Oh God.
Yay.
Sorry, Trudy. I'm choking on your generous donation. Trudy Perry with a $9.99 super chat. Thank you so much. We truly do
Very
appreciate
nice.
that. Absolutely. Dopser. Thank you, James. Dopser, Trudy.
Thanks, guys.
Dopser,
Yeah.
Dopser, everyone. This is why I love this chat.
They're
so
incredible.
on top of everything.
They're incredible.
They're awesome. Okay. So let's move from the age of disclosure to this guy. James Lacatski. So he just came out with a new book, maybe a couple weeks ago, month ago at most, called Inside the U.S. Government Covert UFO Program, New Insights. And this is the third book in a trilogy, basically. So I'm going to read a little bit here, Suzanne.
Sure.
Dr. James Lacatski is an American nuclear engineer with expertise in fusion plasmas and directed energy systems. His career includes a term as program manager, contracting officer representative, security coordinator, and counterintelligence coordinator for the Advanced Aerospace Weapons System Applications Program, or AAWSAP, at the Defense Intelligence Agency. In his writings and public commentary, he links his engineering and aerospace background with investigative work into UAP or UFOs and allegedly anomalous experimental aerospace systems. He is the co-author of a book series often referred to under the umbrella title Skinwalkers at the Pentagon series. So we know the first one that came out with the Napster and Colm Kelleher. And it traces his claimed involvement in the AAWSAP program, his investigations at Skinwalker Ranch in Utah, and government UAP programs. The first volume was in 2021, the one I just mentioned. The second volume came out in 2023, which was called Initial Revelations, where he made some very bold claims, which is going to be the center of what we're going to talk about in just a couple minutes. But the new one is called New Insights. Together, the trilogy claims to offer a technical engineering viewpoint of covert UFO programs, U.S. government aerospace threat assessment, and anomalous phenomena largely outside the mainstream of public disclosure. In the second book, Lacatski made the very bold claim that he witnessed and gained access to the inside of a craft of unknown origin.
He sure did.
He did. I don't know how that went over my head. I guess I didn't even know that second book had come out. But very bold claim. And it was confronted on the Weaponized podcast with Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp. They had Colm Kelleher on and James Lacatski. So I thought it'd be interesting if we watched a pretty heated discussion between these four individuals about this claim, about Lacatski gaining access to a craft of unknown origin. Should we give that a watch?
Absolutely.
Okay. Let me find it here. And then where this story goes down a rabbit hole. Here we go. Here's the video from the Weaponized podcast.
Officially allowed to tell us that the United States government has in its possession a craft of unknown origin, and you were able to access the inside. Is that correct?
The wording that you read is correct. You're going beyond the wording.
No, I'm not. I'm asking you, did that meeting happen? And is it true? And it's true.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so you're telling us, you told us, because you were allowed to tell us, that our government has a UFO in its possession and has been able to access the inside of it, right?
Yes.
Well, that's what I know.
I was allowed to tell you. Let me show the back of the book. This is.
I know, but hold up, George. Will you translate,
yeah.
George?
All right, let's try another tack. How do we know it's a craft and not a doorstop? We accessed it. It has no engine. It has no wings. No fuel. It doesn't. We don't know that it travels. Do we know it's a craft or it's just a rock?
George, you're going into the further discussion that occurred that day.
All right.
We can't go there. But let me tell you, we're going to try to cover that in the future. But it's delicate. It makes the technology described in here look primitive.
Why is it delicate? Why is this topic that the United States government has a UFO in its possession and we've been reverse engineering it? You've admitted it. Why is it delicate?
The details. I'm old school. I won't use the term adversary, competitor as the way we describe. We are surrounded, maybe not surrounded, but hopefully not so, by our enemies. And our enemies, you can be sure they're listening to this show right now. You can be sure that they were monitoring AAWSAP. You can be sure that perhaps they had employees, hopefully not in GIA, but in the contractor part, that were giving out information. I know that. So the thing is we can't say anything more than what we've been approved to say.
Okay.
What is that?
Okay. So details. That's something I want to tackle next because you had the rare opportunity to attend Seoul Symposium last year where Dr. Eric Davis spoke. And that's where we're going to head next with this story because I have stumbled down the rabbit hole that is James Lacatski. And I found some interesting stuff that has to do with this. But Amanda asked a very good question. I saw that you commented on that. Why is this guy not speaking in front of Congress? He won't. He made it clear that he will not testify before Congress about this. Why?
Why publish a book and not get in front of Congress? And my response to her was, that's why he's my number one choice for a congressional subpoena.
A subpoena.
Let's take the choice away.
Yeah.
Let's take the choice away.
The problem with that being, like you had mentioned in the past, hostile witnesses, like say we do subpoena him, is he just going to be like, read my book, bitches? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's harder in person to play that game when you are in the hot seat on a witness stand under a subpoena. And I just think it's worth the effort. Let's do it. We get what we get. You can't control what you get. You can't control what they do. My grandmother used to have a funny saying, and it was, I can't make you behave, but I can make you sorry you didn't. Yeah. And that's the way I feel about Mr. Lacatski. I love her. I can't make you tell it, but I can make you sorry you didn't. Not me as an individual, me as an American citizen, for the government to do it. Yeah. But I just think, take the gloves off. Good grief.
Yeah. I mean, look, he could take the heat. He was doing it there with Corbell. Like I if he's doesn't want to say something, he's not going to say it. But
Right.
like, to make the claim that you gained access to a craft of unknown origin, possibly non-human intelligence, and to kind of, and in the next clip we're going to play, does expand a little bit and give a bit more detail about the possible craft and the things observed about it, according to the engineering background of Lacatski. It's maybe we should just play that. Let's go ahead. Okay, so what you're going to see is first a tiny bit of a conversation that George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell had at some UFO conference. I'm not sure which. I think it was one in Oregon at some point. And then the second half of the clip is Dr. Eric Davis speaking last year at the Seoul Symposium. So let me find that, and we'll go ahead and comment after this. I'm interested to know what you think about this one, Suzanne. Okay, here it is.
And tried to get it transferred to a government program called AAWSAP, these acronyms. They tried to get it over there so they could open up this egg-shaped UFO. They breached the hull of it. They were able to get inside of it. The head of the DIA UFO program admitted it on our podcast. He straight fucking said it. It's not headline news. Oh, by the way, extraterrestrial technology, we got inside of it.
Jim Lacatski describes in his recent book of a year or two ago of how he was able to see it, an intact craft, and go inside of it, and he couldn't recognize any kind of power or propulsion system inside of it. A four-star general described being able to see that craft as well, touched it, said in all of his decades as a military officer, combatant commander, NATO commander, it's like, oh yeah, this isn't anything that we ever made, and it's not anything the Soviets, the Chinese, or any other foreign country on the world could even make. It's just strange. It's just really strange.
Really strange. Yeah.
Okay. So couple things. An egg-shaped craft. That's interesting.
Yeah. Isn't it?
Sounds a lot like what Jake Barber had retrieved or been part of a retrieval of. Egg-shaped craft have been synonymous with UFOs throughout the decades, but that is pretty interesting. They would go on to talk about the propulsion and stuff like that as well. So that was interesting. But the thing that caught me off guard with the Eric Davis part was he mentioned, well, let me backtrack just for a sec. The friend that Jeremy Corbell was talking about, who was possibly in possession of this and that it was stopped or was going to gain possession of it, is Robert Bigelow. This has been made public, that it was made public by George Knapp at the latest UAP hearing, that Robert Bigelow was going to get a craft or was going to study a craft, right?
Right. This is ringing a bell. Oh my God. I just put
he was stopped
together, and he stopped. In fact, he spent something, I'm going to get the number wrong, but he spent something like $25 million, Bigelow did, to build the facility to accept this craft. And then it got yanked.
Man, wonder where that money went.
I know. Who got that?
Yeah, interesting. Okay, fast forward. In that clip, Eric Davis said a 4-star general also touched this craft and was aware of this and was also one of the people who gained access to the craft, as it were. So my mind was like, who's this general? What the hell is he talking about? Like, we got to find this general. Is this someone we could subpoena or possibly talk to? And I found him.
Did you?
I did.
I think they're super sleuthing.
I think so. One sec. Get it up here. This is General Jack Sheehan, and both by the words of Eric Davis via the Davis-Wilson documents or memo in the past, and also writings from Jacques Vallée in his past journals. Allegedly, this guy, General Jack Sheehan, he was the Supreme Allied Commander, Atlantic, from October 1994 to September of 1997. And he served as the Director of Operations for the Joint Chiefs. In the writings of Jacques Vallée, apparently, excuse me, his boss instructed him to take a flight to a certain facility, presumably a Lockheed site, where he saw and touched a craft. He found a $9 billion discrepancy in budgets, which led him to uncover a project on craft with no oversight and using Defense Intelligence Agency money. So basically, Suzanne, I think this is the guy. I think he was the one. I think that he was the one to first kind of uncover these projects that had no oversight. And look at where we are today.
Wow.
With David Grush and
Exactly.
all of these people saying that these legacy programs of UAP crash retrievals exist and then are put into private sectors, but are still being funded
Right.
by government agencies. So it's just like corrupt as all hell when it comes to these UAP programs.
Right.
So I
Well,
don't know.
exactly. And, they will mix a gray program with a black program in order to get the security for the gray program as well. So there's all of that going on constantly. But let me throw in one more little tidbit for consideration.
Mhm.
I think Jack Sheehan is Danny Sheehan's brother.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. I think Danny Sheehan's brother is named Jack, and I wonder if this is that guy. All right, super sleuths in the chat, get on it.
You just exacerbated my cough because that excited me so much.
I know.
I do wonder that. I didn't even think to the names. It's so funny when I was typing in Jack Sheehan, and I was typing in like Jack Sheehan, UFO, blah, 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 going down that rabbit hole. And Danny Sheehan kept popping up. I'm like, no, not that guy. This other one.
Yes, maybe
Oh my
that guy,
God.
right? Yeah, I think that this is his brother. Or I guess it could be a crazy coincidence, but I think Danny Sheehan's brother is Jack.
Whoa.
Yep.
That just made things even crazier. Good Lord.
I know. We're going to eventually get these pieces of this puzzle together, us and our group.
This is just crazy. This is crazy.
It's like a spider web.
It is. So, yeah, that's, kind of where we're at with Lacatski and this new book. I'm just going to read a little bit about the book because I think people should read it. There's going to be stuff to glean. I know, I think it was Stephen Greenstreet put a pretty funny tweet up about some of the cases that are in this book that were studied by people at Skinwalker Ranch and all that stuff. And, Stephen Greenstreet obviously makes light of a lot of this stuff. And look, it's crazy. It's ridiculous. You got werewolves smoking cigarettes in the middle of a ranch out in Skinwalker. You got everything you could think of, these orbs going into people's homes and, I don't know, turning on lights and all that stuff. It's crazy stuff. But yeah, so if you want to read some of the more humorous takes on the stuff in this book, you can go follow Stephen Greenstreet. But in New Insights, Lacatski talks about Kona Blue. There you go, guys. Again, that's your code word for this week. Kona Blue. Be sure to put that in your Apple Podcast rating and review or the comments on Spotify. Which he says was a classified compartmented effort that sought to establish a controlled environment to study and potentially exploit recovered or observed anomalous technologies. Some researchers suggest it was conceived as a follow-up to AAWSAP designed to move beyond data collection and into application and reverse engineering of UAP-related materials or energy systems. Lacatski has not publicly confirmed operational details, but has alluded in his writings, particularly in this book, New Insights, that programs like Kona Blue represented an evolution of government interest in non-human technology, operating in secrecy long after AAWSAP was terminated. And we now know from the Pentagon itself who put this out to the public, Kona Blue was an actual thing. It was going to be the thing that came after these programs, AAWSAP and AATIP and whatnot. So the fact that they were not only going to collect data on UAP, but were then going to collect craft and reverse engineer it, there you go. That is the UAP program as it stands right now. This secretive program that Grush and Borland and all these other people are talking about. Whatever it is, it's a version of this Kona Blue, in my personal opinion. What do you think?
You're right.
Yeah.
Bet you're right. Yep.
Hmm.
Well, I need to read this book, I can tell you.
Me too.
I need to
Yeah.
see what, if anything, is new in it, and then maybe we can determine whether it's worth disseminating a little information on it.
Yep, absolutely. You let me know. I know you're a speed reader. You'll get through it before I do. But you got a busy weekend coming up.
I
What you
do.
got?
It won't be this week for sure.
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. I can't believe we're even doing this live stream with us
Oh
tonight.
gosh, happy to.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank
but the other thing, the last thing on Lacatski was
Yeah.
last year's Soul. So the group may remember when we did the Soul summary out of
Yep.
San Francisco that Eric Davis spoke, as you mentioned earlier. And Eric Davis said that Jim Lacatski, exactly what you were talking about today, had gained access to non-human intelligent craft and went inside, and there was no visible means of operation or control or power, and that others in a position of authority had done the same. And that makes me think of this military Sheehan fellow. I bet that's who was in the craft with Lacatski.
Crazy.
I know.
Look at us. Look at us connecting the dots. We're actual UFO detectives today.
That's what we
guys.
are right this minute. Look out.
Yeah, yeah. We got to get some fedoras and
We're gonna have to do
sunglasses or
something.
something.
Right.
Get some
Dress in
film
black.
noir jazz music in the back. We're doing it, guys. We are bringing you the latest and greatest in UFO news. We are breaking stories here tonight. Now we just got to get like Maury Povich to do a DNA test. Is Danny Sheehan and Jack Sheehan related? The results after the commercial break.
I love that. Let's go for it.
Let's go for it. Cool. Well, I put this up on the screen. I teased it a little bit. Our next story we're going to cover tonight has to do with a former U.S. Air Force staff sergeant who claims to have been hired to communicate with aliens for the NSA. This is bonkers. So a former U.S. Air Force Staff Sergeant Daniel Sherman served as an electronic intelligence specialist in the 1990s, working on classified communications and data analysis projects tied to the NSA. He became best known for his claims about Project Preserve Destiny, a covert U.S. military program allegedly designed to train personnel with latent psychic abilities to communicate with non-human intelligences. So Jesse Michaels recently came out, Jesse Michaels of American Alchemy, came out with an interview with Daniel Sherman this week, I believe. So let's play a little clip from that Jesse put together, kind of teasing and giving us an overview of what the interview would consist of. If you want to watch the full thing, it's like 2 hours long, guys. You can go over to American Alchemy and watch that. We were able to dig up 3 hours.
3 hours.
Oh my God.
I would
Wow.
highly recommend, if you're watching it on YouTube, you can control your speed, your playback speed. Put it at 1.25 or 1.5 because it's a minute.
It's a lot.
Get through
Wow.
this. Yeah.
Well, and you and I were able to dig up interviews from both, I believe, 2007 and 2012,
Right.
also with this guy, Daniel Sherman. So you can watch those as well. They're a little bit shorter, a bit more concise. And the interesting thing is, we'll hear in this one, is his story hasn't changed. From 2007 up
Not a
to
word of
today,
it.
it's the same. Yeah. So is that good? Is that bad? We'll discuss that after this clip. So let me go ahead and play this from Jesse Michaels, and we'll get a little bit deeper into Project Preserve Destiny. Here we go. All right.
By a tone. and I want you to mentally hum that tone. And he said that you will eventually feel a connection. The line will change. When I saw the sine wave move, I went, oh, okay, well, there's a mental disconnect there that's not supposed to be happening. That this is not possible.
Our guest today is an Air Force sergeant who worked at the highest levels on classified projects in electronics and signals intelligence for the United States government. We have thorough documentation of his military records. His service is not something you can really argue with, nor is his mental health.
This is the most nonchalant conversation I've ever had about alien telepathic communication.
In this exclusive long-form interview, retired Technical Sergeant Dan Sherman claims that while serving in the Air Force in the early 90s, he was recruited for an extremely classified program at the NSA, or National Security Agency. This program was called Project Preserve Destiny. Project Preserve Destiny's purpose? To telepathically decode alien signals for the NSA. You heard me right. Alien signals that seem to telepathically transmit descriptions of alien abductions across the United States. Alien signals that ultimately gave our very curious guest answers about the very nature of the alien presence on Earth, how these beings travel, how they conceive of time, what they think about humans, and much, much more. Dan Sherman was originally told by the Air Force captain who read him into the program that he was given this telepathic ability by the aliens themselves when they abducted Sherman's pregnant mother in the early 1960s and altered his genetics while he was a fetus in her womb. This genetic blueprint would allow him to grow into what the NSA would dub an intuitive communicator.
With the IC communication, you can feel it in your brain. You can feel, now you can't localize it. It's not a localization, but I can feel like it's in that area of my brain right there.
Whoa.
And
Sherman believes the NSA may even have tracked him since childhood into his young adulthood and military service until he was finally read into the program.
Do you think that the NSA or powers that be know that this interview is happening?
Because of the extremely sensitive nature of this NSA program and its ties to black programs, Dan tries to abstain mentioning which bases this Project Preserve Destiny was conducted at. But my researchers and I were able to locate one of these bases, and I bring it up at the end of this interview, catching Sherman a bit off guard. Not only that, but at the end of this video, we explore an independent researcher's use of the Freedom of Information Act to learn more about Project Preserve Destiny. He sent a request to the government to see all of the files on it. As you'll see, both the Air Force and NSA's responses to his request are fairly telling. The point is, the skeptics can have at it, but this case isn't going away. It's very hard to dismiss. I'd argue that Dan Sherman's story is one of the most important UFO legacy program-related accounts we have to contend with. So sit back, relax, and prepare to have your worldview crumble with this week's very courageous American alchemist, retired sergeant, intuitive alien communicator, and UFO whistleblower, Dan Sherman.
Wow.
Wow. The whole thing. Wow.
I don't even know where to really go from here because I'm trying to get the thing back here. Okay, there it is. I will give Jesse Michaels credit for this, and I'm kind of rough on the dude sometimes. Maybe it's insecurity, I don't know. But like he did the work. Like he reached out to people. He was able to like verify certain aspects of this, whether it's the actual project Preserve Destiny, according to the Air Force and all that. I am interested to watch the interview and see what the results on that were, what the response was from them about that. I'm interested to hear more about, how this actual communication, like, why was it called Project Preserve Destiny? Someone asked in the chat. I have that question as well. We should mention too, this all came to light in a 1997 book that he wrote called Above Black, Project Preserve Destiny. And yeah, he goes a lot more in depth about it. And I got to ask you this, Suzanne. We both are quote unquote experiencers and or we have seen UFOs. Neither of us, at least to my knowledge, you haven't claimed to have ever been abducted by aliens or okay. Just I kind of put you on the spot with that question. It would be crazy if you said yes.
Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you.
Yeah, sorry. Totally like I just, doing this podcast with you for the last 2 years, it now just came to me. But yeah, the fact that he was chosen because his mother was abducted by aliens and in the womb, he had some sort of like DNA put into it from like what? What is this?
I know, it's crazy. But when you watch in any of these videos, because you know me, I'll watch a video, but I'm never satisfied there. I want to go see what they said on the same subject in other places if those things are available. So this is the hole I went down this week. And he is to a word consistent. Absolutely consistent. And the other thing about him, which the group's heard me talk many times about it being a tool of mine on the issue of credibility, is that he will stop an interviewer if they are trying to lead him to something he thinks is not true, that did not happen. He will not go along, and he's not impolite about it, but he's very quick to stop it. So there's something there. Now, how you go about ever finding some finality on your mother having been carrying you and this happening, I don't know what you do with that. I wonder if anybody's done any genetic testing on him to see if something is slightly different. But
yeah, again, maybe that's something we could do. All right, guys. If you want to help us get DNA tests for both Jack Sheehan and Dan Sherman, super chat is open. That you will help fund the DNA tests.
On Jack Sheehan, I did see somebody say that that's not Danny's brother, but it may just be another Jack Sheehan, same name. So who knows?
Okay. Interesting nonetheless. Everything is coincidental. Robert said, how do I know the name Sherman?
Exactly.
We were like, Shermans, they were the original, I believe, owners of Skinwalker Ranch. So it's all connected.
Today it's all connected. It's weird.
Apparently. So the last thing I will touch on with this story that I found interesting is kind of the reason he came out with all of this is not so much like to I guess it wasn't a way to expose the program, but also like he believed as time went on that the motivations behind why the program existed were less than I guess virtuous. Yeah, honorable. That's a much better word. And he ultimately came to believe that the project's real goal was not research, but control over humanity's first telepathic link with non-human intelligences. And Suzanne, like, what is the big thing right now in the UFO world? Psionics. Boom.
Yep.
So this guy was warning us about psychic communication with aliens back in 97.
It's crazy.
Which is crazy. A lot of what he's saying has been validated in a way, tangentially and also hypothetically, by what is being talked about in the world of UFOs today, whether it's psychically summoning UFOs or psychically communicating with the intelligence behind said UFOs. I find that fascinating.
I do too.
Yeah.
And I wonder if there'll be any blowback, but he said this. He also got out of the service early. And in order to do that, I found this heartbreaking. His direct supervisor, his next up in command, told him that they're not ever going to let you out, much less let you out early. This isn't going to happen. It's too dark a program. it's not going to happen. So he told them he was gay, and they let him out. It was back in the time of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, which was that Bill Clinton, maybe. And so he went to a different area of command and told them he was gay, and that was the only way he was able to get out.
Wow.
Yep.
That is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But also a creative way of getting out of it, I guess.
Well, and I
but
do think he might have been, I think he says at some point that he's bisexual. And so he just used that as a stepping stool to go ahead and tell in the Don't Ask, Don't Tell phase. And he got loose. Yeah.
Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
You know, I guess that's,
Well,
wow,
clearly
that's interesting.
so uncomfortable. And I would just love more detail on all of that. And I think it had something to do with abductions as well. Did you get those details? I wasn't really clear about what he meant, but clearly he thought intent had gone from, is this humanly possible, to nefarious.
Yeah. I mean, even in that clip there, they were mentioning like the connection with the Travis Walton incident and other abductions. And, you know, I don't know. It's crazy stuff. Like, I definitely suggest people go back. We did put a link in the show notes for, I believe, the 2012 interview. I don't remember who it was with, but that was my favorite one. Project Camelot did the one back in 2007. That group is less than questionable when it comes to a lot of UFO stuff. So I would maybe veer away from that one. But this one from 2012, I found really interesting. And then do watch the Jesse Michaels one, because this is the most up-to-date and current one with possibly some new developments and information. My question for you, Suzanne, before we move to kind of our last story of the night is, do you think Project Preserve Destiny is still going on? Is there a Kona Blue of Project Preserve Destiny? Or do you think they're still keeping tabs on this guy, if any of this is actually true?
Yeah, I think they're still keeping tabs. And it just seems to me no program ever really dies. It might morph. You know, J. Allen Heineken's group, oh, that doesn't exist anymore. Oh, wait, yeah, it did exist. You go through these crazy things, and until someone puts the evidence in front of them, they lie. And I have zero confidence that they ever really shut anything down. I think it's a shell game.
I would have to agree with that. I'm calling you out. You said J. Allen Heineken.
Oh, what did I say? Oh, sorry. No.
I've done the same thing. J. Allen Hynek. No, I do it all the time because J. Allen Heineken.
J. Allen in here.
He's one of our most loyal regulars. He's been with me from the very start.
And he's
his name creeps up.
funny.
Yeah.
So how about J. Allen Hynek instead of J. Allen Heineken, with all due respect to our beloved Heineken?
That was the best Freudian slip I think we've ever had on the show. So we're keeping it. We're keeping it.
Okay, good.
Okay. Anything else on this story before we move to our last one?
I think that's good. This is a doozy too. What a week. Wow.
This is a doozy. And I have an exciting update about the story we're about to talk about. But Ross Coulthart recently had a UAP witness come forward on his show over at News Nation. And this was with a gentleman named Yoshua Shelton. He's a former Nellis nuclear security guard. And he worked at, like I mentioned, Nellis Air Force Base at a place called Area 2. And the reason he came forward is because there was apparently a bunch of UFO activity and paranormal activity happening at Area 2. So let me go ahead and bring this up here. If you're watching this on YouTube, what was that?
I'll pull the link up on this.
Please do.
Put it in the chat while you're doing that.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll go through a little bit of information here. So yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, this is Joshua. What's that?
Oh, my blasting over here trying to get the link. Sorry.
Oh God, no! Do your thing. Do your thing. Like, I love how you're on screen and you're still moderating. Like, this is. You're a lawyer. You're used to spinning 10 plates at a time.
Figure this mess out. That's right.
Yeah. So Joshua Shelton served in the U.S. Air Force from 2002 to 2008, primarily stationed at Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada, where he was part of the 99th Security Support Squadron responsible for safeguarding Area 2, a heavily fortified section of the Nevada National Security Site that housed live thermonuclear weapons and special nuclear materials. Holding top-level clearance under the Personnel Reliability Program, Shelton advanced from Security Forces Patrolman to Central Security Controller, overseeing perimeter operations, rapid response teams, and coordination with the Department of Energy. His duties included authorizing lethal force, monitoring restricted nuclear zones, and participating in rigorous nuclear surety inspections, describing Area 2 as a triple-fenced fortress, concealed by desert terrain and under constant surveillance. Of course, I cough right in the middle of this. One sec. Okay, I'm back. Over time, Shelton and his team encountered multiple UAP, including a glowing disc-shaped craft that passed silently just a few hundred feet overhead, momentarily muting all ambient sound. He also described a possible crash being nearby bluffs, and where two lights resembling vehicle headlights abruptly disappeared before an apparent impact. But it does not end there. So what I'm going to do now, Suzanne, is play the first clip from the Ross Coulthard interview with Joshua that talks about the UFO crash.
Perfect.
So let's go ahead and watch that. And yeah, we'll comment on the other side.
Okay.
Here we go.
Incident where a large disc-shaped craft crashed after silently overflying the storage depot complex. Tell me that story.
So this one's a little disturbing for me because somehow I completely forgot about this incident, and I don't know how I could have forgotten because it was so obvious. It was right over my head. I was on the alert fire team, which was stationed at the alternate security control center. And we were outside. A few of the guys smoked, so we were outside with them, kind of joking, just hanging out. One of the other patrols was there, so it was a total of 6 people outside. And I remember that the guy that I'm facing, we're talking, joking about something, and he kind of looks up above my head, and his eyes just go wide. And as soon as that happens, I kind of turn my head to look over my shoulder, and as I'm turning my head, I see this reddish glow that kind of approaches on the ground, and I crank my head up just in time to spot this. I mean, I hate to say it, but it was a classic flying disc-shaped object. I don't think that it was physically on fire. It was almost like this, almost like magma type glow was wrapped around the front of it. And that was what was illuminating the ground underneath it. But it was flying maybe 200 to 300 feet above our heads, very low. And as it approached and came over us, it actually deadened sound wherever it moved. Like the natural sounds of like the building right next to us, the desert, other patrols in the distance, they got very faint, almost like when you stick your head underwater. And as soon
Is
as
there
it
any
cleared,
noise from the object at all? Do you hear anything like a propeller or a jet or a turbine?
nothing like that. A little bit of a hum, but I don't like I don't know if it was the object creating the hum or maybe its interaction with the atmosphere. The object came right overhead, and you could tell it was losing altitude because it was dipping down lower as it came and passed over us. As soon as it was clear of us, that's when sound returned and you could hear everything normal. We immediately got on the radios. By the time we got the first radio call out, the object had cleared the perimeter fence line, and it seemed to go behind this area that we call the bluffs, which is what kind of blocked us from view from the rest of the desert. And once it went down behind the bluffs, there was a massive flash of like orangish reddish light, and it was so big that all of us kind of braced ourselves because we honestly thought whatever this thing is, it's just crashed, and like it's such a huge explosion, we're gonna get knocked off our feet. We saw the bright flash of that orangish light there was no sound, and we braced ourselves. There was no sound. There was no concussive force. There was nothing that you would expect. The exterior patrols, Oscar 1 and Oscar 2, they were dispatched out to go to the bluffs because we expected an object to be crashed there. We fully expected to find like hurt people, something. So they immediately went out there to start looking for this object, and they found nothing. There was nothing out there.
Okay. So, what do you think? What do you think of Joshua?
I love how quiet he is. He is not an exaggerator. I think this is what he has experienced. Whether there are prosaic explanations for what he saw, can't imagine, but perhaps. I also encourage everyone to go listen to the whole thing, because he also describes craziness like one of these crafts controlling the light that was emanating from the four corners of the trapezoid shape, so that it would illuminate the bottom of the craft, but not the ground, not the desert below. So, and then throw in the shadow people. There are numerous incidences of shadow people for him on this base. It's an amazing story.
Yeah, so I'm going to show a clip about the shadow people, because that's really interesting, and I've got something to comment on about that as well. Another military individual that I personally interviewed and spoke to, who had a strikingly similar shadow entity happen at another nuclear installation. So I don't know what's going on with that, but
something
really interesting. The other thing you said about the light emanating and stuff like that was interesting. What I found fascinating with this one is he talked about how all the sound disappeared when the craft went over. And not just that, he didn't remember the event happening.
And that is so common for abductees to let it go. But
not just abductees. I'm so sorry,
Oh, it's
Suzanne.
okay.
But I talk about this in my lectures and in my books about a gentleman named Scott Santa, who is a former radio serviceman for the National Guard, and his drive-in movie theater case. It's one of my most popular cases I personally investigated. And he also described what has been coined the Oz factor, when like time seems to stop, noise completely disappears when a craft goes over you. This weird electrical feeling inside of you. And the way this guy's describing this is exactly the way that Scott did. But it's not even that. It's the fact that he didn't remember the event happening until like Ross had to kind of jog his memory, because he had brought it forward somewhere at some point before this like amnesia thing that happens. That happened to Scott too. Scott and his friend saw this massive boomerang-shaped craft over a drive-in movie theater back in the 70s in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. And they didn't remember it happening. Like right after it happened, he brought his friend home and they never talked about it happening. Yet there were hundreds of people at this drive-in movie theater who saw this thing, but nobody ever talked about it. Nobody ever reported it. Nothing. Scott was the only one who had his memory triggered many years later after seeing a UFO on a book or something. And the memories came back. I was able to find another witness who saw the craft. So I know this event happened.
Wow.
And it happened the way that Scott said it, because this other person described the same exact craft. So incredible stuff. But at the same time, I'm like, my God, was this what Joshua and his members like witnessed as well? Crash out there? Just the similarities are insane.
Exactly. And it also begs the question, is there something else that's not being remembered?
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What memories, what else happened?
Right.
That night? Yeah.
Right. I do
Good
think
point.
it's part of the experience for so many people that they are not memory wiped, but memory delayed, I guess is the best way to describe it. It almost eventually always comes back, or they wouldn't be telling their stories. But there is a period of time where they just let this incredible event go like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
That wasn't my experience. I don't think that was your experience, but it's quite common.
Yeah, no, I remembered mine. I never forgot it, anything like that. But yeah, you do have to wonder. And Guillaume Michon asks an interesting question. How many of us have actually witnessed something and we don't remember it? That's a scary thing to think. That's for
Exactly.
sure. That's
And that
for
they
sure.
have that ability. If whoever this is or whatever this is has the ability
Right.
to do that.
Yeah. What is that? A control system, as Jacques Vallée would put it.
Yes, some kind of
Should we
control.
get to his shadow people
Oh, yes,
story?
that one.
Okay, cool. Let's do that. And then yeah, I've got some interesting connections with the shadow people thing.
That'd be great.
For sure. So here we go. Here's Joshua talking about weird shadow entities at Nellis Area 2.
If I remember right, it would have been about 2006. If I remember right, it was about 2006. So every night we would carry out an exercise. It would vary what the exercise was, but this night we were practicing recapture and assault operations. And we had a dedicated training structure for it where it was an empty bunker, no weapons or anything in it, but it was just like the real thing. And I was on scene commander for that exercise. And when you were dealing with nuclear weapons, in normal CQB, you want to secure the perimeter of a building, and you want to make sure that your backs are covered and all this. When you're dealing with nuclear weapons, you have to get custody of the weapon immediately. So you don't take the same safety or security measures you would take. So we get to the structure. We set up the assault force. We haven't swept the desert behind us or to the sides of us because, again, you have to get to the weapon. But we have an oversight patrol who's up on high ground, and they're several hundred meters away, and they are overlooking everything. They can see everything, and they can see behind us. And if there's a threat, they can engage it with a machine gun. As our assault force is getting ready to go in, the Overwatch Patrol, Whiskey 11, calls over the radio, and they say, "Hey, be advised, you've got 2 individuals in the desert behind you. They're proned out in the desert behind you."
And is this inside the facility or in the desert outside the fence?
This is inside the facility, and it's in the desert in between streets. So in between streets where the bunkers are at, there's a.
So this is a serious breach of security.
This is as serious as it gets. But we assumed it was part of the exercise. Initially, we assumed it was part of the exercise. So I told the assault force, go in, and then I told the machine gunner on the Humvee that's parked in front of the doors, keep an eye out behind us, be aware, assuming, again, it's an exercise. Within seconds, though, our security one, our flight chief, comes with the radio, and he asks for Whiskey 11 to say again, to make their report again. And Whiskey 11, also assuming these are 2 individuals that got put out there, because we would grab other patrols, they'd be bad guys, so that we would have someone to exercise against. So he tells them, I've got eyes on 2 individuals. They're prone down in the desert. I forget the distance. It was within like 50 to 75 meters behind us, though. And then Security 1 immediately calls control, and he calls for an exercise terminate. And as soon as he says that, I know, this is real world. Like something's happening.
So you start putting live rounds into your guns at this stage.
So we exercised with live rounds, which I know sounds crazy to some people, but we trained how you fight. So I yanked the assault force out of there, and my first job is I'm going to set up a sweeping element. Security 1 calls a code red response. Code red being a security incident inside of the facility, not on the perimeter, and that's as serious as it gets. Like that's an extremely serious event.
So if you see these people, are you entitled to use lethal force to stop them?
We are entitled to use lethal force. We would attempt first to apprehend them, but I mean, we had enough leeway that if we even felt that they were hostile, we could have used lethal force. But you do want to first attempt to apprehend. But that being said, we were ready to use lethal force, absolutely.
Do you see what these people or beings are?
So We set up the sweeping element, pushed out into the desert, and the way that I organized people was one guy would have naked eyes, the guy next to him would have night vision. That way you got two different modes of seeing. And then we also had the handheld thermals. Our Overwatch patrol that was seeing the whole thing, they could see the individuals on the thermal the entire time because they were giving us information on exactly what they were doing. And
Are they recording this? Is there any recording of the images?
No, the thermals we had didn't have recording capabilities, unfortunately.
Right. Sorry for interrupting. Keep on going, please.
No worries. So as we are moving up, Whiskey 11 that's on Overwatch tells us that they're reacting to us, that they're basically adjusting to how we're approaching to constantly keep concealment between them and ourselves. That definitely tells me that these are people. We assumed they were people. They're intelligent. They don't want to be caught. They don't want to be found. So I've talked to one of the guys that was overwatching on the Humvee that was at the front of the structure, so not the machine gun team. He told me that he was getting intermittent sights of the individuals on the thermals. So he was also seeing individual thermals intermittently, but because his angle wasn't as good as the Overwatch machine gun team, he couldn't keep them constantly inside of the thermals. But from our point of view, when we got to within 15 to 10 meters of the two individuals, Whiskey 11 called over the radio and said, hey, they just disappeared. They just apparently just blinked out. We went to the position where they were at, and you could see on the ground that there was scuff marks from dragging, as if someone had been proned out and moving, crawling. With our handheld thermals, you could see residual body heat on the ground as well. That was quickly dissipating.
So how many seconds after they were there did you get there?
Oh, as soon as they told us that they disappeared, I told my guys to rush forward. Because once you lose sight, you can't take the risk that they're going to, I would say 3 to 4 seconds.
Did you or any members of your team at any stage see these shadowy humanoid-shaped beings?
The only visuals was on the thermals. Nobody that I know got eyes on outside of the thermals.
Whoops. Okay. Wow. That is so freaky.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah. Super crazy.
It's back to that concept of as we learn to look differently, we see differently. We see different things. And here we are on the thermal. I was messaging Ryan privately in the studio app. Like, I would freak out. I would freak out if I could actually see beings on thermal that I cannot see in real life.
Yeah.
I don't know. I need to
like
work
some
on
weird predator cloaking thing. You got to work on that.
I got to work. I got to desensitize around that if this is how it is.
Yeah. It's so interesting. It's so interesting. Before we go further, I do want to thank Killer Prakash for the 777 super chat. Sometimes I feel like this is all one big game, except they're not really telling us anything and showing us pictures of chandeliers. I know what he's talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll get there, Killer Prakash. Yep. That has to do with our poll tonight. Okay. So let me start with this. In 2022, I interviewed a gentleman by the name of Adrian Reister. And Adrian was a nuclear weapons security guard at Whiteman Air Force Base, which is in Missouri. And he had UFO incidents happen over the base while nuclear weapons were being transported across the base. UFOs showed up. Interesting. But what I found more fascinating was he had a shadow entity experience in one of the most secure areas of the base. And this happened in the same time period as Joshua at a different base, which I found fascinating. So Adrian Reister, if you guys want to go back into the archives, you can find my episode with him. While stationed at Whiteman, he began witnessing strange, dark, human-shaped figures, what he called shadow people, with his own eyes. This was not on thermal. He was seeing these in the most secure areas of the base. These apparitions often appeared during night shifts in or near secured bunkers that stored nuclear weapons. Adrian described them as solid black silhouettes that moved quickly, sometimes gliding rather than walking, and radiating an overwhelming sense of dread. On more than one occasion, Reister claimed these figures appeared where no human should have been able to access, given the multiple layers of fencing, cameras, and armed patrols surrounding the site. He tells a very scary story in that episode with me. So again, guys, you could type in Adrian Reister somewhere in the skies. That episode should pop up. But I found it so interesting that these shadow entities are showing up at different nuclear installations where UFO activity has also taken place prior to or after the shadow entities.
And that feeling of dread, that is also what the ghost folks say. If they get an interaction with a shadow figure, there is this overwhelming initial feeling of dread. So, gosh, what in the world is all this and how does it work?
I've seen shadow people. I'm not afraid to admit that. Yeah, on my paranormal investigations, I've seen several. I actually had an eye test done because I thought I had like a floater or something in my eyes where the shadow, like it appeared as a shadow, but it was just something like showing up in my periphery or something. So I literally had an eye test done. I was fine. But I have seen these dark, pitch black, manta black voids of darkness in the form of a human.
Yeah, darker than black is how people describe them. Did you have the feeling of dread, or was that not your experience?
Not dread, but definitely not good. Not like peaceful.
Yes.
The only entities I've ever, or apparitions, I guess, that I've seen that were like positive were like a gray, misty, white sort of appearance, I guess, or straight up like humans with like clothes on. I've seen those too. So, wow, I'm saying a lot tonight. You can see all of this in my television show, Haunted Heart and Soul, premiering next year. But yeah,
well, tell Paul we need some thermal added to the work you all are doing.
We have it. We do have thermal cameras. Yep. So maybe I'll have to bust those out at some point.
Bust them out. Let's see what you get.
Yeah, we've got them. So cool. What an interesting,
really nice super chats.
Oh my gosh, thank you guys. Michelle, thanks as always. Thank you, Michelle. We truly do appreciate that. Thanks for being here. Jamie, I wonder if that overwhelming sense of dread is coming from radiation or heavy EMF. Ooh, interesting.
Good question. That's a good question.
Definitely. And I can attest, like, EMF is huge in the paranormal world, and we've picked it up and we've cross-referenced it with thermal stuff and tried to triangulate the phenomena, and we've had very interesting results. So that is possible. Yeah, that it could induce a dread-like feeling, maybe. I don't know, but thank you guys. Thank you so much for those. I want to get to know this Joshua better. I want to hear more of the stories because apparently over time they encountered something like where did I have it here? Something like a dozen experiences, whether it's UFOs or shadow people on the base, him and the other men.
I have an idea. Why don't you interview him?
Interview him?
Why don't you interview him?
Interesting. Guess what, guys? I will be interviewing Joshua Shelton this upcoming Tuesday on the Somewhere in the Skies podcast. So if you have any listener questions for him, please send them to me, email them to me. Email is in the show notes, ryan.sprague51@gmail.com. You can put it in the comments of this live stream. I'll be sure to be checking that before Tuesday as well. So if you want further for him to further expand on some of these experiences, maybe experiences he didn't talk about with Ross Coulthart. Now is your chance. I'm going to be speaking to Joshua this Tuesday. So yeah, give me your questions. I cannot wait to speak to him. Really nice guy. We've been talking back and forth for about a day now, and he's really excited to answer any questions you guys might have. So get those to me before Tuesday, and I'll try my best to get them to him. And if you are a Patreon subscriber, you get priority to ask our guests questions. So why not join? For as low as $1 a month, you get to be put in the front of the line to ask Joshua your listener questions. So, wow. So much.
I'm excited.
So much. And I should mention, he did report these things to the FBI. He had a classified meeting with the FBI to discuss these things. So I firmly believe this man. This is not like hearsay. This is not something he's making up for attention. Like, I firmly believe Joshua. He comes across so genuine and authentic, and I can't wait to actually sit down and dissect this with him as well. So
yeah,
yeah,
it's going to be great.
Oh, it's going to be great. Thank you so much. Yeah, you'll be in Italy.
I'll be in motion. Yeah, Tuesday's a hard day, but you guys can carry on without me for this one.
Keep calm and carry on. You will be knee deep in Soul Symposium at this point.
Ready. I'm ready.
All right. Well, that's it. I've got a couple things to discuss with the audience here before we go, Suzanne, but is there anything I'm missing before I let you go and you gallivant off to Northern Italy with your husband?
Not a thing. Everybody stay tuned. Ryan and I'll be figuring out the best way to summarize the Soul Symposium this year, and we'll be putting it out there.
Wish us luck. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, to say the least. Awesome. Where can people find you if they want to reach out to you, Suzanne, if that's possible?
Sure. Facebook's the best, and it's Suzanne Westerman Landers on Facebook. And you can go to Ryan and then go through his friends if you forget the names and find me there. You can also email me, especially if you have a witness account you would like to tell, and have Ryan's got the open line right now for those. So that's at SuzanneLanders@me.com.
Perfect. And in retrospect, I'll put it in the show notes as well. I should have been doing that all along. I apologize. But yeah, awesome. Yeah, we will have a new witness accounts episode coming up in the very near future. I've had a few submissions as of late. I can't wait to bring those to you guys as well. But awesome. Suzanne, I'll let you go back into the chat to get everyone's comments ready as we close things out. But thank you as always for your insights.
You're so welcome.
Truly do appreciate it. All right. We'll talk to you soon. Bye. All right, guys. There it is. Another live stream in the books. We covered so much with you guys tonight. And we're almost at the 2-hour mark, so I will get you out of here before that. Amanda, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the super chat. Great show. Looking forward to Ryan's upcoming interview and reporting from the Soul Foundation. Yeah, we are busy, guys. We are booked and busy bringing you the latest UFO news and the breaking stories as they come in from the Soul Symposium. We will be hearing exclusively from Suzanne, who will have boots on the ground there. I cannot wait. Thank you so much, biologist, for the Yoshua interview. Joshua, excuse me. It's how he spells it. It's a little different. I think he's Spanish, maybe. I could be wrong on that. But thank you so much, guys. We've reached our goal. You know what that means. You are getting the poll. The poll. Let me refresh and get to the poll. What a controversial poll I decided to do. I'm stirring shit up over here. I asked over on YouTube, who do you trust least in the UFO world? And your choices were Elizondo, James T. Lacatski, Christopher Mellon, or David Grush. And the results, out of 73 votes, 60% of you trust Elizondo the least. Trust him least, I should say. 18% James Lacatski, 15% Chris Mellon, 7% David Grush. Interesting results. Why? I want to know why. Put it in the comments below the video. Why do you least trust these individuals? And I'm not like making accusations or anything, but these seem to be the people that keep coming up that people say they don't trust. And I'm curious as to why. All right. So let me know in the comments as well. But wow. Wow. Those were some interesting results to say the least. Kona Blue is your code word, guys. Let me put it up on the screen one more time for you here. Somewhere. Kona with a K. Kona with a K. It's okay, Suzanne. It's okay. Close enough. Close enough. There we go. Your ratings and reviews over on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Be sure to put somewhere in your rating and review the code words Kona Blue. And I will know you watched this live stream, and we will read out your comments or your reviews on the next live stream. So make sure you do that. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, that's where you can rate and review the podcast. Dropping in just a couple hours, guys, you have our brutally honest review of the Shag Harbor UFO Expo. I was in Shag Harbor, Yarmouth, Nova Scotia, I should say, just last week with my very good friend and colleague, Paul Kimball, and we attended the Shag Harbor UFO Expo, and we have a full review for you guys that is coming out on the podcast in just a couple hours and on YouTube as well tomorrow, Monday, October 20th. So be sure to check that out wherever you get your podcasts or right here on the YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell. You'll be the first to be notified when that video goes live, or subscribe to the podcast and you will get it right in your feed, right at the top. For that, other exciting stuff, I came out with a special video this week where I covered my top 5 favorite alien abduction documentaries. You can find that right in the archives here on YouTube. These are some of my favorite UFO alien abduction documentaries that I think people should check out, that are the most credible and empathetic and really shine the abduction phenomenon in a respectful light. So be sure to go back here on YouTube and you can watch that at your leisure. And I also was a special guest on the Debriefing podcast with Elijah Daniel and Vanessa Michaels. This was a lot of fun. These guys are awesome. So awesome. 2 of my newest friends out there in Los Angeles, just killing it. Killing it. They're musicians, they're DJs, they're composers, they're YouTube personalities, you name it. These 2 have done it. They are so awesome. And we had such a great, fantastic, eye-opening discussion on UFOs, UAPs, and aliens. So be sure to check out the Debriefing podcast. I put a link in the show notes to the Spotify version of the episode, or just type in Debriefing with Elijah and Vanessa, and you will find that as their latest episode. We had a blast, so be sure to check it out. All right. That's going to do it, guys. What a show. Little over 2 hours. We almost came in under the 2-hour mark, but leave it to me to keep gabbing on. Rate and review, subscribe, like, hit notifications, all that YouTube-y stuff, podcast stuff. I love you guys. I don't know if there will be a live stream next Sunday. I will be at London Comic-Con, where I have an interesting little experiment I might do while I'm there. We'll see. We'll see if it all pans out. I don't know how busy I'll be while I'm at London Comic-Con. Things get a little crazy at these things, as you well know, but I'll be handing out flyers for the podcast and trying to garner some interest in that as well. But I want to try to do a special video at London Comic-Con. But either way, I'll be posting photos and little Instagram stories throughout the event as well. So you can check that out on my social media, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, Facebook, you name it. I'll be posting it everywhere. But we'll see. I think I'm traveling back that day, next Sunday. If I'm not too tired, maybe I'll do like an Ask Me Anything or kind of a debrief from the event. I don't know. We shall see. But if I don't see you guys next week, have a wonderful, wonderful week and weekend as we move into the Halloween spooky season. I'll be on the lookout for that special alien horror movie video coming to you this week as well. I'll see you in just a couple hours on the podcast. too. And thank you. Thank you again to all of our super chats and super stickers and all of you, our regulars, our new people. I truly appreciate all of you guys for being here with Suzanne and I tonight. So I will leave you, as always, with our mantra here, and that is keep your feet on the ground, but never stop searching somewhere in the skies. Have a good night. Keep looking up.
There's nothing to hide. There's nothing to hide at all.